The Alamo's famous facade, the curved parapet and bell towers everyone recognizes, was added by the U.S. Army a decade after the battle. The building started in 1718 as Mission San Antonio de Valero, a Franciscan mission built to convert local Native Americans to Catholicism. In 1793, it was secularized, taken from the church, and handed to the military. Texas was still Mexico at the time, and the mission was likely converted as part of the ongoing conflict with the Apache and Comanche, not anything to do with Texian independence. The name Alamo came later from a Spanish cavalry unit out of Alamo de Paris in Coahuila, who stationed there and called it after their hometown. The chapel itself was never finished. No facade, no bell towers, no dome when the battle happened in 1836, just a square building with unfinished walls. The U.S. Army added all of that about 10 years later. So every movie that shows men fighting at the Alamo, we recognize from postcards is already wrong before the story even starts. When they get something that easy wrong, you start wondering what else they got wrong. Turns out, quite a bit. Mexico had abolished slavery, and the Mexican government was demanding that slaveholders in Texas free their enslaved people. A lot of plantation owners, including William Travis, had moved to Texas specifically because their home states were passing anti-slavery laws. When Mexico said that practice was ending, the Texians decided to secede. Sam Houston, an abolitionist who lost the governor's race because of it, had ordered the Alamo vacated. Crockett arrived, saw the strategic value of the location, and wrote back to say they needed to stay. Travis came to the same conclusion. They weren't ignoring the order. They saw something Houston couldn't see from where he was. The fight to the last man story comes from Joe, William Travis's enslaved man, who fought alongside the defenders and was one of the few people Santa Anna released after the battle. The Mexican Army's own journals tell a different version, where several defenders tried to escape out the back when it was clear they were going to be overrun and were cut down by cavalry outside the walls. Some of those Mexican officers wrote that they found it distasteful. Joe's account became the version everyone knows, and he had good reason to make the heroes look as heroic as possible. The better he told the story, the more people wanted to hear it. When that celebrity faded, he and the other enslaved survivors were re-enslaved and sold back into slavery in the new Republic of Texas. A psychic told Phil Collins he was the reincarnation of John Smith, a courier at the Alamo, and Collins believed it. He'd been obsessed since he saw the 1955 Disney Davy Crockett film as a child, and he spent most of his fortune collecting artifacts, including Jim Bowie's knife and Davy Crockett's ammo pouch. He jokes about how much he spent. Eventually, he came around to the idea that he probably wasn't John Smith reincarnated, and he donated the entire collection to the museum in Texas. The Alamo gets about 1.6 million visitors a year, and there's a $450 million effort underway to tell more of the story, including the Mexican side and the accounts from the people who were enslaved there. Texas is spending real money to get that told. Given how deep the Davy Crockett mythology runs in that state, it's not a small thing to ask.